Coming up on Mountain News this morning, international implications of Syria's new leadership begins to unfold after the fall of a brutal regime. And officials hope the next legislative session will see improvements for farming in Kentucky.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Madison Carmouche. We are inching up to that 6 o'clock mark this Monday morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your Monday morning forecast. Now it's a rainy one out there, Megan.
It sure is a rainy one. A raincoat might be necessary as you're heading out the door today, but you won't need a winter coat as those temperatures will be a lot warmer than last week. And taking a look at those current temperatures right out the door, we are in the 50s for most of the area, which is significantly warmer than we saw last week at any part of the day. And we're going to continue to see those temperatures warm up as our high will be in the 60s. 62 for Manchester and Harlan, as well as Monticello and some other cities in the region. A little bit cooler as you're heading towards Virginia, 53 in Wise, 57 in Clintwood and in Jonesville. So overall, definitely going to be a warmer day. Again, we are watching that rain this morning. It is that rainy Monday morning, and as we're continuing to go through the next couple of hours, that will begin to taper off, leaving just some slight chances for rain throughout the rest of your day. And we're going to be watching those winds this morning. So we have the wind, we have the rain. There's also some places with some fog. So just make sure you're being a little bit safer on the road this morning and being prepared. But for the next 12 hours, those temperatures will be warming up with the high temperature around that 4 p.m. hour. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. A transition is underway in Syria today after rebel forces took down the country's brutal dictatorship. It is a moment of celebration and hope for many Syrians. But the future of the country remains unclear. Amy Kiley reports the U.S. and several allies have a stake in what happens next.
What happens now in the aftermath of the Assad regime?
U.S. interests in the Middle East hang in the balance after the fall of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's brutal dictatorship. Rebel forces say they control the capital city of Damascus. An official source in Russia says Assad has taken refuge in Moscow.
He'll be remembered as one of the most violent rulers in response to the uprisings that started in late 2010 in the Arab world.
Analysts say the overthrow of Assad helps the U.S.
This is good for the Syrian people. It is good for the region. It is bad for Russia and Iran, thus good for the rest of the world.
The U.S. is taking steps to prevent a resurgence of ISIS during the transition. U.S. Central Command says the American military has struck more than 75 ISIS targets in Syria. Officials also are watching rebel leader Abu Mohammed al-Jawlani.
Jawlani and his movement, HTS, fought the Islamic State, and while he is officially still on the terrorist list, we haven't seen any what we would consider terrorist activities out of that movement for a good deal of time.
President-elect Donald Trump is urging the U.S. not to get involved with what's happening in Syria. President Joe Biden is pledging support for regional allies.
It's a moment of historic opportunity for the long-suffering people of Syria. It's also a moment of risk and uncertainty.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
In his victory speech, al-Jawlani told the U.S. and Israel their, quote, interests are understood in the new Syria. Kentucky Senate President Robert Stivers was in Louisville Saturday for the Kentucky Farm Bureau's annual meeting. Stivers spoke about how the upcoming legislative session and a second Trump administration could impact farmers. He also explained how Kentucky cities help the farming industry.
120 counties come here to this county to go to the Fair and Exposition Center because they're wanting to see the ag community and what goes on in it. So it's a big economic development tourism driver for Jefferson County.
The Bureau also re-elected Webster County farmer Eddie Melton as the president. He has served in that position for the past 16 years. The Democratic Governors Association announced Governor Andy Beshear has been chosen to serve as vice chair for the year 2025 and chair-elect in 2026. The vote happened at the annual DGA meeting in Los Angeles. Beshear will serve as vice chair as Kansas Governor Laura Kelly continues to serve as the chair, a position she's held since August. In a statement, Governor Beshear said he's excited to build on his record of bringing people together by helping communities across the country. The faithful returned to the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris yesterday. The famed cathedral hosted Mass for the first time since a devastating fire in 2019. French President Emmanuel Macron, dignitaries, and bishops from around the world were among the 2,500 guests attending the service, which was closed to the public. But behind the scenes, dedicated workers were the ones who rebuilt and restored the cathedral to its former glory.
And it's gratifying to know that I've helped create something better than what it was, and it will outlast my lifetime.
And there has been a huge demand for the religious services for the public this week. All the places were reserved within 24 minutes of going online. A kindergarten teacher in Louisville is continuing a tradition of giving back to her students. For the past 6 years, Carrie Thompson has given each of her students a new coat, hat, and a pair of gloves before winter break. Many students at her school are low income. Thompson says providing a basic need like warmth makes it easier for kids to learn.
Every year, the excitement on the kids' face when they get those hats and gloves, it's like getting them to take them. I have to wait until the end of the day to give them to them because they won't take them off once they have them, because it's something that a lot of the kids don't have access to.
Thompson uses a website called Donors Choose to pay for the new gear. The site has raised more than $140 million this year to help public school teachers fund classroom resources.
We're still watching the rain this morning come through eastern Kentucky, and it will continue throughout your morning hours, tapering off in just about 10 a.m. But let's take a look at the live pinpoint Doppler radar. As you can see, it's more focused towards Pikeville of this moment, but it will continue to move throughout the area. But those current temperatures won't be an issue this morning, as we are in the 50s, and we'll be continuing our warm up as we hit the 60s today. 60 in Hazard, 62 in Jackson, and a little bit cooler as you're traveling towards Virginia. 57 in Clintwood, 59 in Grundy, and 53 in Wise. So it will be on the warmer side for today, but as you're heading out this morning and into the rest of your day, you'll have those rain chances. Again, stop around that 10 o'clock hour, but you do have the very slight chance throughout the day to see a sprinkle or two, but that will be picking up as you're heading into your evening and continuing into your Tuesday. So going to be another rainy day as you head into tomorrow as well. Madison?
All right, Megan, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Congress has a couple of weeks to finalize important business, most notably funding for next year.